on, everybody? It's me, Mark Robertson, and I am. Last time I was trying to figure it out, and putting having the questions in between is kind of hard. So comment the questions, comment something, and say hello or whatever, and I'll get to you guys after um, after the mock draft, and we should be good. So we're gonna start out with my overall opinion on what happened last night, and I saw the I saw the actual mock draft um, ping pong drawing, and it took them 3 times before they got a different call other than the Phoenix Suns. And it just happened to be the Sacramento Kings up at 2, which not only pushes um, pushes certain teams out of the top 3 like they should have been, or should have been. We all know who should have been in that top 3, because the Kings tank on accident. The Kings win or lose games. It looked really good to me. It was nice because I was at work and I checked on my phone and everyone was like, "We got the second overall pick," and I was like, "Nah, you're lying to me. You're lying to me, right?" You guys know how great this is for our franchise. You know how great this is. So before I get into that, I just want to thank you guys so much. We're at 311 subscribers. Thanks to all my subscribers that have joined, and make sure you guys share the videos, share this live stream, and hopefully other people can see it. I hope to do this podcast at least once a week. That would be nice, since I actually have my last final tomorrow. Wish me luck. But that means I can start doing podcasts more often or do more videos, which I will be doing a remake of a certain video that I did a while ago that I got a lot of views on. And it's just because a lot of things have changed between then and now that would affect it, but I still believe that the the plan is real. If you guys have watched that video, any of you guys have watched that video, make sure you guys comment down or comment in the description. I have seen that video, and you know what I'm talking about. Going back and tell the 2016 NBA draft, and the Kings have planned it all, and I need to redo a video on that because there's a little bit more to that theory that I want to talk about. But I want to explain this podcast to you guys. So I've seen different podcasts, not just about the Kings, but about basketball in general, and I feel like there's no podcasts that really put the audience into perspective, or the fan base of Sacramento into perspective, and we need that as a franchise. We need that, or as a fan base, we need that. Our franchise needs that, just to know how the fans feel, and for how many years our team has been out of the playoffs. The word bleeding is okay to use in this situation, because we're all bleeding purple on the inside, everybody. We're all bleeding purple. Any Kings fan is bleeding purple on the inside, and you guys all know who you are. And so that's what this whole podcast is going to be about. Hopefully I can get more people on. I have a few friends that like the Kings that live near me that I'm trying to see if they want to come and do a podcast with me, or get as many questions as possible, or even answer different questions about, as a franchise, about what you guys want to hear from me on this podcast. Because this podcast is not about me. It's not solely about the Kings. It's about the fan base as well. And so this is actually going to tie in very nicely into what I want to talk about today. So let's get right into it. So the lottery order was incredible. It really was. We all knew that more than likely Phoenix would get their number one overall pick. That might be a little too loud. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that down real quick. There we go. So we all know that Phoenix was gonna get their number 1 pick, and it didn't come to any surprise. We all know that they weren't even close to a good team this year. They rested Devin Booker a lot. No shade thrown at that. But there's a lot to this team, to the Phoenix Suns team, that needs to be improved, honestly. And they're going to need that first pick. So going down, obviously, there's the number 2 pick that came home to Sacktown, which we needed so badly. We needed that pick. And there's so many of us on Twitter. I know all of you guys on Twitter were all saying that this was going to happen. We were going to enter the top 3. And as soon as I watched the lottery recap, and I saw that Bulls had been pushed down to the seventh spot. I knew for sure we were in the top three, not just because they said it, but it was great to see that we were in the top three. And there's nothing wrong with being in the top three. And not only that, we got to the top two, everybody. The top two. That's crazy. That just means that we're going to have another player that's not only going to change our franchise, but is going to play really nicely with our young core. And I don't even know, maybe even move us into a playoff situation next year, which would be great to see. It'd be phenomenal to see. So, continuing on down the list, the Atlanta Hawks did move into the top three after being projected four. Good for them. They do need someone to pair up nicely with John Collins, and also Schroeder. I guess there's some news about Schroeder that he's like not happy with the organization or something, and so he wants to move on. And I'm like, you're the starting point guard of a young team that's rebuilding. Of course, you're not going to be happy with the franchise right now. Duh. So I don't know, but there's a lot of good players that could help them out. Moving to number four, Memphis. They really had a really bad season, and even like Tyreek was looking good for them. It's good to see that Tyreek was able to get in there while Mike Conley was out. But just the fact that they were basically a walking G League team in the NBA for a while there was pretty crazy to see. Um, Dallas got pushed down. Orlando got pushed down a spot. The Bulls got pushed down a spot. Cleveland, I think, is in the same position that they were. The Bull. Now that I think about it, the Bulls got their tiebreaker that they should have deserved. Um, New York got into the nine, and also the thing that's really crazy, and I'm not doing like 11 through 14. I'm just doing the top 10, and I think it's crazy that the Sixers were in the second round of the playoffs, yet did they make the second? They made the second round, didn't they? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they made the second round. Whatever. They were in the NBA playoffs, yet they still have a top 10 pick in the NBA draft. Which I guess Cleveland is there too, and they're in the finals right now. Or they're in the conference finals, which I hope the Celtics take it. But we'll see. Just going down to news, like even though that the Suns won the lottery, the Kings are the big winners for the night. They moved up 5 spots, which we would have done last year if it wasn't for the fact that we had that clause with Philadelphia that we had to switch spots. And we need this number 2 pick, especially that we don't have we don't have a first rounder next year, which we could trade people and we could do things to go get a top 10 pick or go get a first rounder next year from somebody, which you never know. Things could happen during the offseason. That'd be great. In the long time that the Sacramento Kings have it's been a long time coming. It's been a very long time coming for the Sacramento Kings and for our fan base to get this number 2 pick. It's only the 3rd time in Sacramento franchise history that we've made it into the top 3, including a number 1 pick and a number 3 pick, and that's crazy. And I'm glad that we finally made it in the top 2. And not only is it huge that we got this overall number 2 draft pick, but yesterday marked the day 5 years before when the city put in a vote to keep the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento, which is a huge anniversary for Kings fans, and also was basically a huge present from the league or from the NBA gods to give us this number 2 overall pick, which is crazy, and I think the Kings solely deserve it. They weren't resting players that really were going to make a difference. With the veterans, they were resting them, and they traded away George Hill. But you got things good out of it. Like, they won 9 of their last 21, which some people might say they shouldn't. Some people might say they should. Adam Silver definitely doesn't think so. He thinks that it makes the league look bad when teams are resting and tanking, and I totally believe that. Like, we don't want a league that just doesn't look good. Now we're gonna move into my NBA mock draft. So I hope you guys are ready. Let's see how many of you guys are in here. There's 3 of you in here. Let's get it. I see your comments. I will get to them. So don't you guys worry. I'll get to your comments in a second. So the Phoenix Suns have the number 1 pick in the 2018 NBA draft, and they will select Luka Doncic from Real Madrid. And this is why. Because Alfred Payton, they're going to let Alfred Payton walk. He's a restricted free agent. So they can let him walk and or go sign up for another team, and they're not going to match him because there's no point. The Orlando Magic are still stupid for trading him for nothing, basically. But I guess if you really want him off the team and draft another point guard out of the draft, then I guess that's how you want to do it. But I know there's a lot of people that say DeAndre Ayton will get taken with this first pick, and probably, honestly, it's down the street, like people have said, down the street. But I don't believe that they will take him. I think a pairing duo of Luka Doncic and Devin Booker would be so much better for them, and I know that they have that center position kind of empty with only having Dragon Bender there, but at least Dragon Bender can play games and can shoot the 3 ball and is a big tall dude that can get in the post if he needs to and learn more how to play because obviously he was a top draft pick that still needs to learn how to play the game of basketball and everything, so he can take the time, he can get through. Um, but yeah, I totally think that Luka Doncic will go number 1 to the Phoenix Suns, which means that the number 2 draft pick will be made by the Sacramento Kings in the 2018 NBA draft, and they will select DeAndre Ayton out of the University of Arizona. This would be the biggest draft pick in Sacramento Kings history for the sole purpose that he is a 6'1" shooter that has so much upside on his offense that when he gets a defensive game, he becomes an instant all-star. An instant all-star. He is so good for what he can already do as a big man in the NCAA, and he's going to just move on into being with Sacramento. Him and Willie Cauley-Stein are going to just wreck house in that 4-5 position, and it's going to be huge for the Kings to see this. It's going to be huge for Kings fans to be able to come in here and get to watch Fox run the pick and roll with either Willie or with Ayton. And hey, Ayton has said he wants to move to the 4. Well, okay. If he wants to play the 4, like LaMarcus Aldridge also is a very tall man who plays the 4, okay. We move you right over to the 4, and we'll play Willie Cauley-Stein right next to you. I know that there's people that have said, I don't really want to get into free agency right now, but I know there's a lot of people that have said that Clint Capella would look really well with, or would be a great max option. If Phoenix takes DeAndre Ayton and we get Doncic, I will say throw a max at Capella. I would say throw a max at Capella anyways, but having Ayton and Capella in the post might really mess things up. Willie in the post, Willie is the kind of player that plays out of the post a lot and likes to take those outside jumpers where I feel like Ayton's going to go to the post so much. He's going to be like Diesel. I'm going to say like he's going to be able to shoot better than Shaquille O'Neal, but he's going to be in the post like Shaquille O'Neal. He gets in the post so easily, and he's just, and like they said, he is a huge ticket box office player. Like, it'll bring fans from all over to Sacramento. Which is also huge with the whole summer league thing. We would have DeAndre Ayton and Harry Giles playing in the summer league, which could be the best front court of the summer league, which would be huge. We're gonna move on to the next one. In the 2018 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks will be selecting number 3, and they will be selecting Marvin Bagley out of Duke. Marvin Bagley is another big man that has a great offensive game and shoots very well from the three-point line, but does not have a defensive game like DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton does block more shots. Bagley has the potential to be a great defender. He just needs to get into that defensive role. Ayton is still young too, so he could be a great defender as well. And Bagley is really young. And Bagley skipped a year of high school and probably could have learned some defense during that year of high school. But you know what? He wanted to get into the NBA and get things done. And I know that the NBA in a few years will be abolishing the and one rule, which I think they already announced. I don't remember. But if they did, that's huge. Um, but yeah, I think Marvin Bagley will look so good next to John Collins. John Collins running the five, Marvin Bagley running the four and scoring, or getting John Collins set up for an alley oop, or even just a really good look from the depending honestly if they do trade Schroeder. If they trade Schroeder, they're going to take Trae Young, and Orlando's going to be stuck with Saxton, which would stink. I want to see Trae Young on Orlando more than I want to see him on the Hawks. But we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out, how all the trades play out. I do think that there's gonna be a few superstars that will get traded, and Kawhi will get traded, and even possibly Andrew Wiggins will be a trade option during that time. Moving on to number 5 in the 2018 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks will be taking Mo Bamba out of the University of, or no, sorry, number 4, 2018 NBA draft. The Memphis Grizzlies will be selecting Jaren Jackson Jr. And I think this is great. If Marc Gasol is still with the team, you have Jaren Jackson Jr. and Marc Gasol running that front court, and they're going to play really well next to each other. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of the leaders with high blocks, with 3 more blocks a game in the league. And so it's great to see that out of a player, and could really help the defensive game in their defensive game in the realm with Gasol on the Memphis Grizzlies. Sorry, I was blanking out there for a second. Woo! But yeah, he could be a really big force. He has a good 3, he has a good jumper, so he could be really good with the Grizzlies. Moving on to number 5 now, 2018 NBA draft. The Dallas Mavericks will be taking Mo Bamba. Like I said, they have tried to get a replacement for Mr. Dirk Nowitzki, or not a replacement, but for like a successor. And Mo Bamba can be that. Mo Bamba has been working on that shot ever since he was out of the NCAA tournament, and him and Dirk are the same size, and he might even learn that fadeaway jumper from Dirk and learn how to shoot the 3 more consistently. But the one thing he has over Dirk is he blocks shots, and he will block shots a lot more than Dirk will block shots. So I think he'll be a perfect lineup with Dennis Smith Jr. and Barnes and Wesley Johnson, or not Wesley Johnson, Wes Williams. Sorry, or Wes. Is it Wes? Wes Matthews. Wow. If he stays on there, Wes Matthews. But yeah, Bamba has a lot going for him, and it'll be great to see what he can bring to the Dallas Mavericks. Moving on to number 6, and like I said, this is the Orlando Magic. They will be taking the number 6 pick in the 2018 NBA draft. They will choose Trae Young if he is there. And like I said, if he is there. And I think if he's there, they're going to take him and they're going to play him, and he's going to be semi-okay. He's going to lead a young Orlando, or a pretty broken Orlando team that needs stuff. Aaron Gordon probably won't stay because he wants to be able to win and be a contender. And so they're going to have a very low team that will need a lot more to get better. And like I said, if the Atlanta Hawks do trade Schroeder and they don't get a point guard out of it, they're going to take Trae Young, and Magic will have to go with Colin Sexton, which will work. It'll have to work. Moving on to number 7, the Chicago Bulls. I know a lot of people are like, he's not going to be really high up for them, but in this number 7th pick in the 2018 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls will take Michael Porter Jr. out of the University of Missouri. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's just going to fall. He's just going to fall really hard because even though he might have the best talent for the team, he hasn't proven that he can play even in college. So, but as being a hometown kid, I honestly think he's going to go to the Bulls. And for how much Bulls fan are trolling everybody, he's going to go to the Bulls. Moving on to number 8, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I have them taking Mikal Bridges from Villanova. And I saw this coming, or I can see this going that way. Even if LeBron doesn't leave, because they can still run him at 3, or run Mikal at 3 and run LeBron at 4, which they have been doing with whoever the small forward is with them at the current moment. Was Crowder, now Jeff Green, then Kyle Korver and all them. So, but LeBron's been playing small forward right now because they moved Tristan Thompson into the starting lineup. So you never know. Moving on to number 9, the New York Knicks is with the 2018 or in the 2018 NBA draft. The number 9 position is taken by the New York Knicks, and they will be taking Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke. And this young defensive center is going to be very good with them. Next to Enes Kanter, or next to Porzingis, he's going to be really good. And hopefully they figure out how they're going to run the point guard. If they're going to try to go for any free agents that would help their team out, hopefully they do. But that's huge. He's a really good defensive player, and he could really help out with their defense in New York. Moving on to number 10. And like I said, this is surprising because the Philadelphia 76ers were in the playoffs this year, and they have a top 10 pick. And I know there's people that are going to be like, well, they're going to take Miles Bridges so that they have a good small forward to play next to Ben Simmons and whoever is their shooting guard next year. And I'm going to say no. I'm going to take, with the 2018 NBA draft, the 10th overall pick for the Philadelphia 76ers, they will select Kevin Knox from the University of Kentucky. And it's not just because that they need to continue the Kentucky thing where at least one player has to go in the top 10, but it's a situation where Kevin Knox had a good time or a good season in college, and he would work out so well next to Joel Embiid and next to Dario Saric that it'd be a no-brainer to put them two next to each other. So, or put him on that team and on that starting lineup, because Covington is okay if it works out, you move Covington to the 3, or you move Covington to the 2, or you move Kevin Knox to the 2, and you run Ben Simmons, Kevin Knox, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and Joel Embiid, and you're good. The process is finished. So, yeah, that's what I have for you guys for the mock draft. Do you guys have any questions? Let's see. What do we got at questions? Some people want to trade the second pick for Leonard. Xavier, if you're still here, I'm going to answer your question. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see the reasoning. We have a top 2 pick. There's no reason that they would trade it now unless they were going to get some. They might go and look what they can get, see what the teams under them might want to trade out for. But we need to take either Doncic or Aiden, and I really hope it's Aiden. I think Doncic is a great player. I don't have any trust that he might play small forward. I know that Buddy Hield or Bogdan Bogdanovic can play small forward. I know they said that Doncic, with his size, he could guard small forwards, which you never know. It could happen. So I don't know if I would take Leonard if they were willing to part with. See, I don't want to take. It's so good that I don't want to do that. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I unless Kawhi can show that his attitude has changed and that he's ready to play on a team, that he can lead and stuff like that. Well, obviously he can lead a team, but if Kawhi is healthy enough and can play, then okay, bring him on. I'll want a really big package out of it, but if that means that we're trading Kawhi for our second round pick, Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna go with everyone. I'm gonna go with the people that really have a mind for it. We're not trading the pick, and that's final. And let's see, James Irving, Buddy Hield at small forward, Fox at point guard, Bogdanovich at small or at shooting guard, Aiden at center, and a free agent at power forward. Free agent at power forward. No reason to. There's no reason to. You have Willie Cauley Stein. You have Harry Giles. You can play one of them easily. Aaron Gordon. No. No. We won't get Aaron Gordon. We could possibly get Capella. Or we could possibly get Parker. Aaron Gordon is like the least possible out of the three. If anything, and I want to talk about this more later on in my later video that I'm gonna redo about the big plan, that the what if big plan. If you guys want to go back and watch that video, but I want DeMarcus Cousins to be on their list if it works. It has to work. It has to be a good contract. He's coming off of a huge injury, which means that he, at most, should get $18 million a year. At most, should get $18 million a year. If he gets more than that, or if he's requesting more than that, I'm gonna say, pass on that. We'll get somebody different, and we'll just go with that. Doncic or Bagley? The bucket game / Vogs. Like I said, Aiden or Doncic. And I am gonna type out down here for you guys to see this. I am so keen on making sure that we use accents correctly because it's the proper thing to do. That's how you spell Doncic. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at this from a different account. So I typed in that's my different account. But yeah. Anybody else have any questions? I see that there's 5 watching. Thank you guys for the 6 likes. I appreciate all you guys being here. Any of you guys else have questions for me? Just go ahead and shoot them. I have plans for this. I have different plans. Obviously, there's plenty to talk about. There's plenty to talk about when it comes to the summer league and things like that. But you just never know. Just waiting to see if anyone's got any questions. Is Buddy Hield the current franchise player? The current franchise player of the Sacramento Kings is De'Aaron Fox. He clutched us a top 2 draft pick. He clutched us so many wins. Why are you retracting all your comments, buddy? Yeah, he took a lot of he really was super clutch for the Kings this season. And I think that Buddy Hield is a good player. But if he comes out the same way like he did last season, because his first season in the NBA, he came out okay. He came out okay, and then the last 20 games he caught on fire. This year it was kind of the same. They took him off the starting lineup. He played well off the bench. They put him back on the starting lineup. He didn't play that well. They put him in the backup again. So I don't see him being much of a franchise player. He's a really good shooter. Don't get me wrong. I totally agree that he's a great shooter, but yeah, I just wouldn't call him franchise worthy right now. Come on, we need the W. No. We got 3 more hits and yet we couldn't score off of them. Ugh. Sorry. Looking at the Giants. All right. We got 7 people. Thank you guys for all watching. You guys have any questions? I'm waiting for your guys' questions. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Comment them down below. Let me see what you guys got to say, because then I'll answer them for you. How about that? Is your question? Oh, okay. But yeah, while we're waiting, I'll talk about this. This is so big for the Kings, just not just the franchise, but like for the fan base that we finally have a top pick that we've been waiting for a long time for. Which I'm excited that we finally have a pick like this. It gives not only as a Kings fan, it gives me hope, and it shows hope, and it shows that we are fighting to get to where we deserve to be. Um, but also it just shows like the fan base's dedication to this franchise and to the game of basketball has proven that we have stepped through so much and we have bled through so much when it comes to this league that now we are where we should be with getting young players that know how to play the game of basketball, going for a top 2 draft pick from the 2 top players of the going to be instant starters and could be one of them could be an all-star, the other one could also be an all-star, which we just never know. So is your question what about Harry Giles? Is that what your question is? If your question is what about Harry Giles, my answer is Harry Giles is depending on if we don't get anybody in the draft, or if we don't get a big in the draft, he's gonna be our possible big name front court player. Unless we get some like if we get Capella, him and Willie Cauley-Stein will run the front until if Willie Cauley-Stein isn't showing up, then they'll start putting Giles in there and see what Giles can do as a starter. So that's what I think Harry Giles will be a huge add-on and player for this team, and I can't wait because I'm definitely going to go to a couple of the summer league games, and I'm just excited to see how that'll work, and it'll be fun to watch. Thank you guys for the 7 likes, by the way. I also saw that there were 7 of you guys on, so that works very well. Any of you guys else have any questions? Waiting for your guys' questions, see what you guys have to say. I'm here to talk for you, give you answers, waiting for questions. I see there's 6 of you. I have so far gotten 5 of you to talk. So the other 1 or 2 of you that are here, talk. I like to talk. As you can tell, I'm a talker. That's why I want to be in the Kings front office as a commentator, because I like to talk about basketball. Thank you for that 8th like. You're awesome. If it comes down to it, I'll start asking you guys questions and you guys can give me answers. You know, while we're at it, who do you guys want in the draft if, say, I'm going to give you, so say Phoenix takes, let's go my version. Phoenix takes Doncic, or who do the Kings get? Do they go for Aiden, or do you guys want something different? Let me know. You have to, so James, you have to understand with Coach Yeager, he's not anti-youth. You have to earn your minutes to play on a team, which is fair enough. I do agree, though, that the veterans should not have been playing as much as they did, other than Vince Carter, because it's pretty much his, like, farewell tour. Maybe next year will be his farewell tour, but he got to play a lot, and that's fair. He should get to play. And Zebo probably should have been traded to a contender, and then he would have been able to play this offseason. So I got one on Aiden. So far I've gotten a one on Aiden. There's 6 of you right now. Not counting my watching account. So there's 5 of you right now. So I need 4 more answers. Who do we take with the number 2 pick? If Bagley, explain. Bagley over Aiden. Come again. How is he the next Tim Duncan? Tim Duncan can play defense, like off the bat. Marvin Bagley is going to have to learn how to play defense. So will DeAndre Aiden. But DeAndre Aiden has more upside than Marvin Bagley does. I'm telling you right now, DeAndre Aiden's already blocked shots more than Bagley has. So I'm taking DeAndre Aiden right up, and I'll let Atlanta go take Bagley. I'm waiting. We got any questions? We got anything to talk about? Any topics you guys want me to talk about? I appreciate that there's 6 of you guys here, but like I said, I'm a talker. Talk. Darn. Okay. Who do you compare Aiden to? So, like I said earlier, if you weren't here, that's fine. But like I said earlier, when I was talking about Aiden and talking about why we would take him at 2, I compare him to a shooting Shaquille O'Neal, and this is why. It's not because Shaquille O'Neal is definitely was a stronger player than Aiden is currently. Aiden is a full grown man already, which is crazy for his age that he already looks that buff. So he's been working really hard at it. But he was like 6'5" when he was 12 years old, which is crazy. So that would be interesting. But yeah, I think he's definitely that good corner 3 version of Shaquille O'Neal. And hopefully he does learn how to play good defense and does get multiple blocks per game and just can dominate people in the post like he already does. So him and De'Aaron Fox will play really good pick and roll game. So who do you compare Aiden to? Okay, we already got that. Any other questions, guys? Or am I just gonna wrap it up now? I really enjoy talking to you guys, so just let me know if you guys have any other questions. It's been a fun first podcast, I think. Future 3-way rival with Sacramento, Golden State, and the Lakers. Sure. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna still say that the reason was having if Lonzo Ball stays on the Lakers, then I'm gonna still say that him and the Lakers and Fox and the Kings are gonna be the biggest rivals. We're gonna have 0-2 rivalry between the Lakers again, especially if we both get really good and we make it to a finals playoff game, or not a finals playoff game, just a playoff series. We're gonna be a huge rival. I would love to see the Kings. Honestly, at some point or another, it would be nice to see the Kings beat the Warriors 3 out of 4 meetings or 4 out of 4 meetings. That'd be great. Hi, honey. Everyone say hi to my girlfriend. She's in the watching right now, so. Hello! Any other questions? Any other basketball questions to talk about? I am open to listening to your guys' comments. Anything about that? That's some good water. I'm thirsty. I'm gonna have to come up with more heavier topics, or not have this as long. It might be easier when a lot more people are coming. Thank you guys. Like I said again, thank you guys so much for 311 subscribers. I really appreciate it. And my last mock draft is having a lot of really good reviews. So hopefully, when I upload this to YouTube, a lot of people will enjoy the video as well. So I can get back up to the about 2,000 range like the last one is. Welcome. I just saw another person join. Make sure you hit that like button while you can. Thank you very much. And ask any questions if you're still here. Ask any questions that you want. I'm talking about anything. If you want to go back once I upload this, you can go back and watch watch my top 10 draft picks. I'll go over them real quick. For anyone that's just joining, I'll scroll back over them real quick for you. I said the Phoenix Suns will take Luka Doncic. Will match up well with Devin Booker in that situation. The Sacramento Kings, who were the real winners of the lottery, will take DeAndre Ayton automatically, no doubt about it. The Hawks will pair John Collins with Marvin Bagley. The Grizzlies will grab Jaren Jackson Jr. to help their defensive game and their offensive game in the corner three, and also getting those three plus blocks a game, like I said. Number 5, the Dallas Mavericks will take Mo Bamba because they need a replacement. They'll need to start training their replacement Dirk, and he's pretty much what Nerlens Noel was supposed to be. Number 6, the Trae Young. They're going to need a point guard because they made a really bad move and traded Peyton for nothing, basically. Number 7, Chicago Bulls, hometown kid. Michael Porter Jr. will be going to the Chicago Bulls. Sorry that you can't come to the Kings, Michael Porter Jr. We were trying so hard, but with the number 2 pick, it's too good to be true. Number 8, the Cleveland Cavaliers via the Nets will be taking Mikal Bridges from Villanova because he can play really well next to LeBron James. Number 9, New York Knicks will take Wendell Carter Jr. because the same reason they need defensive. If not, I would also say maybe they'll take Saxton just so they have a good solid point guard because they have Ntilikina who can play the shooting guard, but he's not really their go-to point guard. So there's that. They went to Jarrett Jack more than they went to Ntilikina. And number 10, the very lucky playoff-worthy Philadelphia 76ers will take Kevin Knox because he would help really well with their shooting guard, a small forward situation. Let's check out to see any questions. If Michael Porter Jr. looks good at the combine and able to see his health records and comes back clean, there's a good chance MPG goes 2, and that's all based off of his combine. It really does based off as well off of, don't get me wrong, I love Luka just saying it's a possibility. Sure, it's a high possibility, yes. But if the Phoenix Suns take Luka Doncic, you're going to choose healthy Michael Porter Jr. over a gonna be league dominant DeAndre Ayton? I don't think so. I do not think so that would ever happen. So it just works better that you take the player that really deserves that spot, which is DeAndre Ayton, and you don't let him go to Atlanta. You take him, you bring him to Sacktown, where we're gonna love and appreciate him like you're going to, Kings fans, because he's gonna be a cornerstone in this core. So that's all I gotta say for that. So any more questions while we're here? Thank you guys for the 6 of you that are still watching. I appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully we can get up to that point where I do have 10s to 20s of you guys. I hope that this podcast really takes off. If DeAndre Ayton goes 1, then your idea backfires. Sure. Yeah. So then, sure. If DeAndre Ayton goes 1, and Luka Doncic is there, but we have a healthy Michael Porter Jr. This is what needs to happen. Not only does Michael Porter Jr. need to agree to a team workout with the Kings, he also needs to show that he's 100% healthy, but he needs to score 30 points in every single combine game that he's allowed to play in. He needs to score 30 in each. If he does that, I would take him with the number 2 pick. If not, we're taking Luka Doncic. Exactly. If things go well, I see. Okay. Sure. But Jesse, just realize this, Jesse. They have to go extremely well. Like, overabundantly well that Vladi will look down the list and see, oh, hey, there's this kid that should go number 2, but his college record has said that he should go number 8. Or not his college record, his college playing. That's the same thing with Harry Giles. You have to understand this. Harry Giles, who we got really lucky with by trading down and getting that pick later on, and picking him up, and he's going to should be a superstar in this league when he shows what he can do, not only in the summer league but in the regular season. Yeah, but it's a possibility, just as we had a 6% chance for. Okay, I get it. I understand our chances, and I understand you probably have a very, very big crush on Michael Porter Jr. I get it. But you don't take someone that didn't prove themselves in college, might have proved themselves in high school, and might have a really big potential base, but had a really bad injury. Okay, then we're taking Luka. You just said you were going to take Luka. Any other questions? We solved that up real quick now, did we? Anybody else got any questions for me? We're going to end it off here soon. Anything? Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Whoops. Yeah, it's fine. No one's watching. That is going to worry about that. I'm not sponsored. Nope. Anybody? Anybody got any questions? Thank you very much, Jesse, and thank you for coming and watching the stream. Hopefully you left a little like down there for me. Make it number 10, unless you already liked it. I don't know if you've already liked it. You might have been here the whole time. Have you been here the whole time, Jesse? Be honest with me. Have you been here the whole time? You just didn't chat until the very end? Well, thank you for staying the whole time. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Anybody else got any questions for me before I head on out? I see there's 6 of you. Phone had a hiccup. Whoopsie. What do you project the record next season for the Kings? Okay. Yes, you got a like. Oh, sweet. Thank you. Okay, so the Bucket Gaming vlogs. All right. So I'll give you 2. So I'm gonna give you two of them, and then here's how, and then we'll figure out from those two. So I'm gonna give you two lineups, and then I'll give you the records. Right now, if the Kings, if the Phoenix Suns take DeAndre Ayton one, and we get Luka Doncic two, and we can max or sign. So we would max one player or we would sign the other player. We can max Capella or sign Boogie. If we max Capella, our lineup would be Fox, Doncic, Bogdanovich, or Heald, whoever they want to start at small forward, and then Willie Cauley-Stein and DeAndre Ayton, or not DeAndre Ayton, Clint Capella, and that would be our starting lineup if we got Doncic, and then if we got Boogie, it would be obviously Boogie instead of Clint Capella. With Clint Capella and Doncic, I'm looking at 41 and 41. We'll go 500 next year. Now, with Boogie, on the other hand, we would go 43 and 39 because Boogie is an all-around better player than Clint Capella. Boogie can shoot, Boogie can pass, Boogie can steal, Boogie can block, Boogie can play defense when he wants to play defense. So I would give them 41 and 41 might not be playoffs next year for a Western Conference team. We hope it is. We hope that if it isn't, they could try to trade Zebo and maybe either JJ and Scout or both, and go get a first round 2019 pick. That way we at least can draft somebody next year. But yeah, I would give them. So I'd give Clint the Doncic Clint Capella lineup would get 41 and 41. The Kings or the Doncic Boogie lineup. Actually, let's go with that. The Doncic Boogie lineup would get 45 and 37, and that would be a playoff team. Now, on the other hand, if we take DeAndre Ayton and you sign Boogie, and if we could also max Parker, or if we could find a way to trade our second rounder, Zebo, and JJ and Scal, and we go get Andrew Wiggins and the Memphis's first round draft pick because they're gonna make the playoffs again. I would then at that point say a Fox, Bogdanovich, Andrew Wiggins, Boogie Cousins, or DeAndre Ayton and Boogie Cousins lineup with Mason, Buddy Hield. We could go find a cheap backup small forward, or we just do Jakar Sampson, something easy. Harry Giles and Costa Koufis, or they sign a different backup, or no, sorry, not Costa Koufis. Harry Giles and Willie Cauley-Stein. You got a 50 win plus team right there. You can't tell me you don't. Andrew Wiggins and Boogie Cousins would dominate the league. Andrew Wiggins would have an opportunity to be good on a team where he doesn't have that opportunity to go play with Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler and whoever else is on the Timberwolves, and you end up being at that place in the lineup in the Western Conference where you can dominate players with DeAndre. Oh yeah, I forgot. You have Andrew Wiggins, Boogie, and DeAndre Ayton. That's the best wing front court. Would be one of the best wing front courts in the entire game of basketball. So that's what I have to say. They would definitely be a top 5 team next year. In the West, not the entire NBA. I mean the West, even though the East will probably be not that good next year. Like they always are. But yeah, thank you guys for the 8 of you that are here. I appreciate you guys being here. We have any other questions? I already went over my reaction for the lottery, and we all know, except for you, that Boogie wouldn't be back. So whatever record Boogie has wouldn't matter because he isn't coming back. Okay, so they still get Andrew. Okay, say they still have Andrew Wiggins, and then you run Aiden at the 4 and Willie at the 5. You're still looking at a possibly 42, 43 win team, which might put you right at the 8th seed, and we would get a playoff run. But it wouldn't matter if you did fall out of the playoffs at that point, because you would still have Minnesota's pick, which would still help if we wanted to go for another young prospect at that point. So I'm looking at that side of the situation. There's plenty of people that do think that Boogie will look this way, especially after a serious injury, and history shows that it's much harder for a big man to come back to 100%. A lot of money wants, so yeah, so eh. Well, thanks for watching, and thanks for joining an NBA podcast if you want to be watching NASCAR. No one cares about Daniel Suarez. Sorry. Um, Anyways, he would not be able to get a lot of money. I'm telling you right now, Jesse, Boogie would not get more than 20. He wouldn't get more than 18 mil for having that big of an injury. And like you said, it's harder for a big man to come back. Yet his progress has been looking really good, but you know. So does anybody else have any questions for me before I end this off here? It's been about an hour, so that seems like a pretty good place to end it off. Oh, I know but he be wanting something big, but I know he won't get paid. So at that point, like I said, I would give him, if he was gonna come back, he did, his attitude did change while he played this year for with the Pelicans, and it's because they had players like Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, and Rondo who all played really well together. So now that we have a young core that could be placed next to him, that's why I have a video out that I said I was going to be redoing, and it's all based on the fact that the Kings might have a big plan to bring him back, and they were trying to make sure they had a team for when they wanted to bring him back. He still loves the city of Sacramento, so he might come back. He might have even knew that he was going to be leaving, and they just didn't want to make a big scene with the league. So obviously he still played his heart out with the Pelicans, so that still works. So I would pay him 17 mil a year to come play with the Kings at most. Any other questions? I'm looking for questions, looking for anything before I go ahead and sign out. Thank you for the 5 that have stuck around. Appreciate you guys staying. Nice chatting with you. Looking forward to more chats with you. I'd be shocked if he does, but I wish him and our Kings the best luck. Have a good night, man. You too. Thanks for coming on, Jesse. Appreciate you. Hope you come back soon. Anybody else got anything to add on before I go ahead and sign out? Okay, well, with that, I'm going to bid you all adieu. Thank you guys for watching the first episode of the Bleeding Purple podcast. I do hope to get an actual logo made. I'm going to make it myself on Photoshop. It shouldn't be that hard to make. But I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and go Kings!